Hello, Tigers!
Marvel Studios left everyone stunned during the San Diego Comic-Con event. They announced that Robert Downey Jr. will return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but this time, he won't be Iron Man. Instead, he will play the great villain of the new phase of films, Doctor Doom. But who is Doctor Doom and why is he so important? We'll explain all of this in today's video, starting with the story of Doctor Doom.
As always, leave your like on today's video, subscribe to our channel, and let's finally get to today's video.
Victor Von Doom, who is Doctor Doom, was born in Latveria, a fictional country. He is the son of Cynthia and Werner Von Doom, who were part of a group called Zefiro. This group is actually a Romani community that was heavily persecuted because of King Vladimir. While his father, Werner, was a healer using traditional medicine, his mother, Cynthia, practiced witchcraft. When Victor was just 4 years old, his mother died after making a pact with a demon named Mephisto. Here's what happened. Cynthia gained magical powers to fight the king's enemies, but unfortunately, this deal with the demon came at a terrible cost. The lives of all the children in a nearby village were lost. Cynthia was horrified, and because of this, she was hunted by the king's men and ended up dying. Before she died, Cynthia asked Werner, her husband, to promise that he would not allow Victor, their son, to learn or use dark magic. She was buried in an unmarked grave, and when others started speaking ill of her, Victor defended his mother and warned others that if they continued to speak badly of her, he would become like her when he grew up. During his childhood, Victor had a special friend named Valeria. They were very close, and when they were 11, this affection turned into love. At that time, the king's wife became very ill with cancer, and the king sent his guards to fetch Werner to try to cure her. Werner couldn't save the king's wife, and she ended up dying. Because of this, the king ordered Werner's execution. So Werner fled with his son Victor to the Latverian Alps. But during the escape, Werner's horse got away, and they had to spend the night outdoors. Werner wrapped Victor in his clothes and held him to protect him from the cold. But unfortunately, he ended up dying from freezing. Later, another member of the Romani community, named Boris, found Werner and Victor and took them back to the village. Victor was very angry about his father's death and vowed to take revenge. Boris showed Victor what remained of his father's legacy, a collection of herbs and potions used to heal the sick, hoping that Victor would continue his father's work. While searching through his father's belongings, Victor also found a chest with various magical items from his mother, so he spent the following years learning both science and witchcraft. Victor used this knowledge to protect the people of the Zefiro village and became their leader and defender, always trying to escape the king's persecutions. One night, while Victor was walking away from the village, he was captured by one of King Vladimir's soldiers with nothing to defend himself. With a rifle pointed at his face, Victor attacked the soldier and strangled him to death. This was Victor's first murder. Eventually, stories about Victor's scientific skills reached the United States. A man, who seemed to be a recruiter from State University, came to the Zefiro village and offered a scholarship to Victor. However, this man was actually a U.S. Army agent. He wanted to recruit Victor before other nations, which were enemies of the United States at the time, could do so. Victor received a full scholarship to study at State University and used his skills to create new weapons for the country. He accepted the offer, seeing it as a chance to escape the difficult life he had in Latveria and face a new challenge. When he arrived in America, Victor believed that his mother's soul was trapped in the demon Mephisto's realm. He decided to study different dimensions to create a device that could reach her. At the university, Victor gained access to a laboratory on a U.S. Army base where he began his experiments. There, he met a brilliant young man named Reed Richards, who became interested in Victor's work. However, Victor was not very interested in making friends and preferred to focus on his research. Reed and Victor soon became rivals. Although they were not friends, they saw each other as intellectual competitors and spent a lot of time debating complex ideas that impressed their professors. While working for the army, Victor began creating robots to fight in battles. In his room, he was also building a device to try to find his mother's soul. One day, Reed discovered Victor's notes about the device and suggested that some of the calculations were wrong. But when Victor realized Reed was looking at his notes, he was too proud and angry to listen to Reed's advice and decided to continue with the experiment. When Victor finally used the device, it worked for a short period, and Victor was briefly transported to Mephisto's realm. There, his mother desperately begged him to come back. However, Mephisto touched Victor, leaving him frozen and with a terrible sensation. At the same moment, the device exploded in Victor's face, causing permanent scars. Since Victor conducted the experiment in secret and without the university's permission, he was expelled from State U and blamed Reed Richards for the failure of the experiment. Although some reports say that Victor only had a small scar on his face, he believed he was horrifically disfigured forever. For months, Victor stayed in a hospital, unwilling to talk to anyone about what happened with the experiment. He continued to wear bandages on his face, even though he no longer needed them. Feeling that his time in America was over, Victor created a device that caused all his military inventions to explode. This way, he ensured that the technologies he had developed would not be used by the military. Before he could be arrested, he fled the country. With the money he earned in America, Victor hid and frequently moved around Europe to avoid American authorities, while continuing to hone his skills. During this time, he was still haunted by nightmares about his experience in Mephisto's realm. Victor sought refuge in France and had to deal with a drunk and annoying man named Otto, who always slept at his apartment door, even though Victor asked him to leave several times. Soon, the Russian KGB discovered where Victor was and tried to recruit him to work with them. Tired of working for other governments, Victor refused and fought against the KGB agents, threatening to kill anyone who tried to find him in the future. The KGB was also an ally of King Vladimir and tried to use this connection to force Victor to work for them. They paid a member of the Zefiro, who claimed to be a soothsayer, to warn Valeria that her people were in danger and that she needed to bring Victor back. Valeria went to Victor and they reunited. The time they spent together was like a dream for Victor. He welcomed her back with great affection, and their relationship helped to dispel his nightmares. But the happiness didn't last long. The KGB returned and tried to use Valeria as a hostage to force Victor to comply. When it seemed that all was lost, Victor was surprised when Otto came to help. Otto used magical powers to protect Valeria and defeat the KGB agents, but took several bullets in the process. As he was dying, Otto revealed that he was part of an order of monks living in the Himalayan mountains in Tibet. They had a prophecy that said a man with a hidden face would come to lead them. After Otto died from his wounds, Valeria asked Victor to return with her to Latveria, but Victor decided to follow a new path in the Himalayan mountains. Not knowing much beyond the existence of a secret order of monks in the mountains, Victor traveled to the Himalayas and spent months climbing and searching for any clue about where this hidden tribe might be. After many months of travel and nearly starving and exhausting himself, Victor finally found the monks' temple. They helped him recover, and after he was healthy, Victor convinced the monks to accept him for training. Victor discovered that the monks were masters of both magic and technology. He spent 5 years learning everything they knew, and over time, surpassed their skills. The monks were so impressed with what he learned and accomplished that they named him their leader. While at the temple, Victor built a device that allowed him to hear and see all television, radio, satellite, and internet transmissions. He discovered that his old rival, Reed Richards, was working on a new spacecraft and was furious. It was at this moment that Victor decided that all the monks would begin calling him Dr. Doom. Tired of the constant nightmares and wanting to feel no more emotions or pain, Victor decided to create a magical armor. This armor would not only protect him from bad dreams, but also separate him from the world, turning him into a cold and logical machine. Victor asked the monks to make the armor for him. When the mask was ready, Victor put it on immediately, still hot from the forge, ignoring the intense pain that burned and disfigured his face. It no longer mattered if his face was already disfigured or just had a scar. He destroyed it completely. Determined to take revenge on King Vladimir, Dr. Doom left the Himalayan mountains and returned to his homeland, Latveria. When Dr. Doom arrived in Latveria, he made his presence known by confronting guards who were watching over a gang of enslaved workers. He defeated the soldiers and freed the slaves, telling them to spread the news that Dr. Doom would defeat the tyrants of Latveria. Victor then sought out the Zefiro tribe and asked the elders to spread the news of his arrival, ordering them to use holographic projectors to show everyone his message of challenge against King Vladimir. The news of Dr. Doom's plans to liberate the people of Latveria spread quickly, and a rebel army was formed to overthrow the king. Valeria eventually visited Victor and was horrified by what he had become. However, Dr. Doom simply ordered that she be kept away from him. Soon, Dr. Doom sent his robots and rebel forces to fight. He achieved many victories, and more people joined his cause, including many of Vladimir's soldiers. Dr. Doom sent a messenger with a holographic projector to deliver a message to King Vladimir: surrender and live, or fight and die. Vladimir refused to surrender, so Doom prepared his army for the final battle. Doom and his troops advanced through the last defenses before Vladimir's castle, which was trying to escape through a secret tunnel in the local cathedral. There, Doom found and confronted Vladimir, the man who had killed his parents. He strangled Vladimir to death. With Vladimir's death, Victor took the royal mantle, which he still wears today. After defeating Vladimir, Doom destroyed his castle and moved the capital of Latveria to the city where his mother had died. He built a new castle there, making it his new seat of government. Now that he had a kingdom to rule, Doom used his magical abilities to summon Mephisto and made a deal. He would have one chance a year to try to save his mother's soul. However, if he failed, the people of his kingdom would start to hate hate and despise him. So, that's the story of Doctor Doom. What did you think of this challenging and twist-filled journey? And in your opinion, how do you think Doctor Doom will be portrayed in the MCU films? Leave your comment below and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories like this. See you next time.
I hope you enjoyed the video and comment on what else you'd like to see here on the channel.